Morning YouTube, welcome to another episode of DRG. Figured I'd give you some updates since it's been a while. The Lincoln Continental Lucille, even though she was a bucket car, sold, gone. Got it to a point where it was needed to start spending large chunks of money to get it roadworthy. Or more, well, it was already roadworthy. I drove it for a little while, but I got to a point where it was okay. Needed tires, needed a bunch of other stuff, and as much as I enjoyed the car, it was a bucket list car. It just wasn't the car for me. So I found it a new home and a new owner that basically actually drove it home from Spokane or 9 Mile Falls area to Post Falls area or Hayden Lake area. Drove it all the way home, made it there just fine, further than I ever drove it, on those old tires too. First thing he did to it was put a full exhaust on it. He's going to mob it around all summer long, and then supposedly he's going to send it in for body and paint work this winter. So congratulations to him. Good job. That's more than I could do. I met my goal. I scratched an itch, got a bucket list car off my list, got it back on the road to a point where somebody else could enjoy it, and that's where that one went. I'm currently looking for another low budget project that I could revive, get back on the road, get it to a running driving state, and then turn around and sell that one. Tis the season for car shows and everything. Everybody's asking, well, premium for it. So I got to kind of wait till fall when the projects that didn't get completed get listed and I can find something in my budget. I'm trying to do low budget, build it up, get it to a point where it's drivable, roadworthy, and pass it on to somebody else. But it's got to be a car I'm interested in, and it's got to be something that'll have some sort of a value that I won't be upside down in and losing money. So that's gone. Hi Boy picked up an endoscope. Check the inside, see why it's locked up. Check the cylinders. It ain't locked up because the cylinders are rusty. They still look fresh, like the day I honed it. So sitting inside, or the engine sitting inside the engine bay outside over a winter and everything didn't cause any problems there. It's not a valve train issue unless it's actually in the cam or timing chain, because I have the valve train backed off. I can't remember if I spun the motor after I put the engine and transmission on, so I'm wondering if it's a transmission issue binding up, or maybe my bolts for the flywheel, maybe they're too long and that's causing it to lock up. So one of these days when I have a little bit of time, I'm going to drop the transmission and try spinning it then. If that doesn't work, then I'm going to unbolt the clutch stuff and remove the flywheel, see if it spins. If that doesnn't work and it's not the engine, or if it's not the transmission and clutch and flywheel stuff, then it's got to be a frozen wrist pin, which is going to suck because it means I get to tear the damn thing apart, which I don't want to do. So today's project, I figure I'll get you flipped around here. Today's project is going to be the 66 F100. This is, well, I'm a slick truck fan, slicks being 61 through 66. This era of truck is just the era I like. This is a keeper truck for me. It's not the prettiest. I've done a walk around video on this, so if you want to go back and look at it, you can see the walk around video and see what I've done to it. The issue I have, or it needs a steering box. So when you rock the steering box, the steering shaft in the box to the pitman arm pops and kicks out. And this thing has some weird goofy death wobble, and I changed all the bushings in it. Not that I did a video on it because it was a year or so ago in July, hotter than hell. I was just in my driveway, get it done quickly as possible. You can see I painted the springs because, you know, Eibach things. Got to make it look cool like I have a lift kit on it. I don't. I did replace these C bushings here and the radius arm bushings back there. So I did the C bushings, radius arm bushings, hoping that would take care of my death wobble. It didn't. Basically what happens is the shaft up in here, when you rock the steering wheel back and forth, this thing pops. So there's like movement in here. And probably preload needs to be adjusted or whatever. But the thing is, well, 60 years old, being a 66. 60 years old, it probably could use a rebuild. I can't find a rebuild kit for these, which is weird because it's what Ford used from 66 to about 75. I could be wrong. Correct me in the comments if you want to. Most places, well, I shouldn't say most places, but well, a lot of places won't even list a 4x4 steering box for 66. So, like where I'm getting the replacement steering box from, only list it from 67 to 69. But I know that's incorrect because, well, Rock Auto lists this box supposedly one available. I just don't want to deal with mailing back the core return. Shows this for this steering box from 66 to 75. Not a cheap steering box. I'm going to get mine from Redhead Steering. $600 exchanged. $300 core charge. So I'm going to pull the steering box today being Saturday, and I'll run out to Post Falls on Monday. Nice being local enough, and exchange it for the rebuilt box that they have in stock. Supposedly they have 6 of these, which is interesting because when I asked about them, I think back in July I inquired about them. They didn't have any, and it was a R&R. I had to pull this out, run out there, drop it off. They rebuild it, and then go back out there and pick it up. There's another company called, I think, Bluehead Steering. They're in North Dakota. They don't have this box listed, so this would be, I'd have to ship it off to North Dakota. They rebuild it, ship it back. I didn't want that much downtime. I figured just a weekend, pull it on Saturday morning, have the new one back in potentially Monday afternoon, depending on how busy I am. Rock Auto would be buy it, pay the core deposit. So Rock Auto for the layers, I think 755 part number, one in stock supposedly. I don't like the fact that there's only one, and then everywhere else that shows every other, like Napa, O'Reilly's, AutoZone, Advanced Auto, shows the layers box as well. They're unavailable. So it's like, how does Rock Auto have one where nobody else has any? I think it was like $400 for the box, $250 for the core. Sales tax was outrageous because I live in a commie state, but that's another story. Shipping I think was $29. So it would have been more expensive to do that, but then I'd have to ship the box back once I got it off, and I'd get the $250 core charge refunded, probably some sales tax on top of it, but I'd have to pay to ship it back. And I don't, well, if I $250 and I lose 30 of it to shipping, kind of defeats the purpose. So I went with Redhead because, well, I could drive down there and get it. Plus Redhead supposedly changes takes the needle bearings out of these and replaces them with roller bearings. Not that I think this actually has needle bearings in it. I think this is a ball bearing type steering box, but I don't know, and I'm not going to take it apart. So I've been soaking everything down with PB Blaster. You got 3 mounting bolts, typical on the flange on these. So you got 1, 2, 3. They go through the frame. I could get to the back side of the front one here. These, I got to go through this little window down here. Not looking forward to that. These are 3/4 inch bolts. The nuts on the back side are 3/4 inch bolts. This is, well, 1 1/4 is too small, and 1 1/2 is just a skosh too big. I'm actually using a 36 millimeter because, well, it's a hub nut socket And I've done I had vehicles that must have had a 36 millimeter hub nut, because I have that socket. I also have a 30, 32, 33, 34, and a 35. 35 being a Ford Ranger, by the way. 2020 Ford Ranger. The other thing I have to do is up here is the coupler. Instead of a rag joint, 4x4 has this weird bell coupler. I think Bronco Graveyard, Crazy Horse, 4x4, Tom's Off-Road or whatever. Those guys, I think for the 60s Bronco, maybe even the 70s, up into the 70s, I'm not sure, list this part, but the last time I looked, it wasn't available. I don't know if this is something I can rebuild. I'll have to figure it out when I clean it off. The bolt here is just a pinch bolt. That pinches it to the steering box. That's 5/8. So I'm going to undo that. Hoping I don't have to go inside the cab and pull the upper steering wheel and pull the steering wheel off. No, I've had the steering wheel off before, so it shouldn't be that hard. And unloosen the nut up there on the top steering column, so the steering shaft will slide up. I'm hoping I could just unbolt this, unbolt the pitman arm. This is going to be the fun part. I do have a pitman arm puller. I don't know if this is kind of a small pitman arm, to be honest. I don't know if it'll fit this one. We'll find out. I'm not going to film undoing this unless I have issues or run into issues. I'm just going to talk you through it. So my plan is to unbolt this nut here, 36 millimeter. I'm going to try to use my Milwaukee 3/8 impact gun. I only have the mid torque impact, so I don't know if it's going to be enough torque for that, but we'll find out. And once I get that undone, I'll go up here, undo the 5/8 pinch bolt. I'm going to undo it, get it loose, and then maybe put a pry bar back here and see if I can get it to kind of pop off. And then I'll work on the 3/4 inch bolts, and the nuts on the inside are also 3/4, so 3/4 nuts and bolts, only 3 of them that hold it to the frame. 4x4 box is straight up and down vertical, with this where the two-wheel drive is kind of at a sloped angle. And hopefully this takes care of my death wobble. Otherwise, then it comes down to, pretty sure I put new drag bushings in the drag link. It was part of the C-notch kit. So these have the drag link that just runs from the frame to the axle over there is got new bushings in it. So that's usually another cause for death wobble. Otherwise, it's going to be in my tie rods, and I haven't found a source for these. 4x4 stuff gets fun. Maybe I could get lucky and use, I guess 70s or something. I'll have to do some research, but this has got some weird ball socket on here, on this end over here. So it's got a ball socket. I don't know if it's threaded onto this tie rod or if this is part of it or not, but I'm wondering. It doesn't have any movement. I could probably use a little more grease, but I don't have any movement in it. And I'm hoping I don't have to undo this. Take the cotter pin out, unseparate this to drop this. I'm going to try to just drop, pull, let it dangle. Otherwise, the other possible issue or cause of death wobble, and it's not all the time, which is what's weird about it. It's only if I hit, like it starts if I hit a bump or something, or the harmonic's just right and it starts, and then it just continues. But if I keep it the vehicle low speed, it doesn't seem to do it either. It's only when I get up to speed. U-joints in the knuckles sometimes cause it. You wouldn't think so, but it does, or it can. But this is the underside of my 66 F100. Some of it's painted black, some of it's like greasy, some of it's PB Blaster. So the transfer case and transmission are greasy. I never cleaned them. They worked. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Drive shaft back there is pretty good. Pinion seal on the 9-inch back there has been replaced and it currently doesn't leak. Axle seals may or may not leak, but they've been changed once, but I'll have to look. I think the passenger or driver's side rear might leak. The vent hose on that thing was plugged. So someone changed the axle seals in that thing. Didn't check the vent, and then I started puking out the pinion seal. I replaced the pinion seal. Then it started puking out the axle seal over here. I changed, took a look at the vent and found it plugged. Once I plugged it, topped off fluid, I hasn't noticed it leaking since. So I know the axle seal over here was leaking at one point. You can see that the hub's kind of a little oily, a little greasy. One of these days I'll go through the front axles and the back axle. Well, if I have to go through the U-joints, I guess I'll be doing that sooner than I think. But for now, let's work on the steering box. So I'll tune you back in when I have the steering box out, let you know what I ran into, and then I'll pause it, and then I'll resume when I get the new steering box and let you work the new steering box back in. But right now, that's going to be my joy today, and I guess I'll get to work. Don't forget to wear eye protection and hearing protection. You can't hear boobies, and you can't hear rod knock, or you can't see rod knock. So, all right, I'll bring you back. All right, figured I'd update everybody on the power steering, or that's not even power steering box removal. Surprisingly, that was easy. The Milwaukee M18 mid torque on level 3 took the pitman arm nut right off. Took the 3 bolts that hold the steering box on, and then I used the M12 3/8 drive ratchet. Actually, no, I didn't even use the ratchet. Here, I'll turn it around. Alright, so my little tool pile. This job took me all of like 15 minutes. I had like absolutely no issues whatsoever. 36 millimeter nut or axle socket. Took the nut off, no problem. 3/4 inch for the 3 bolts that hold the box to the frame. These two have captured nuts, so all I did was bust those loose. This one here obviously has the lock nut on it, and required the 3/4 inch box wrench on it. The coupler on the steering shaft is 5/8 on one side, 11/16 on the other side, so I update a correction on that. My cheapy pitman arm puller was the correct size. Popped that right off. Here's the steering box. It's a Gimmer 24JC0 whatever. Looks like the pitman arm has a gap here, so it's splined, so it can only go on one way. The coupler that's on it, this has a notch for the lock bolt. The bolt goes in here, pinches it tight, keeps it from moving. Top of the box. I filled this once with grease, and I filled it with grease here. This, I'm thinking, is probably my adjustment. I could pop the cover off and look inside, but I think I'll just leave it alone. Why ruin the core in case they don't like it being taken apart? But this whole job, maybe 15 minutes because everything cooperated with me. The pitman arm, puller made quick work of it. I was able to do just to throw my 3/4 inch on the pitman arm puller, popped it right off. So here's my pitman arm. I popped it off, it dropped straight to the ground. So I didn't need to undo that. That is nice. This joint here is nice and tight, so I don't think there's an issue there. I'm gonna leave that up there. Steering box, I didn't have to pull the steering wheel. I didn't pull the steering wheel. No, so none of that was done. I just undid the pinch bolt. And when I undid the bolts, pulled the top of the box out this way, and then pulled it down this way, which pulled it off of the splines off of this. I'm gonna need to go figure out how to get this off, because there's obviously, it's a slip joint. It slides in and out. There's a boot, and the boot's destroyed. I mean, I could pack it full of grease, but I would like to take it apart, or at least get it off this shaft, and maybe see if I can find if not, they'll rebuild one of these, or a new one of these. Maybe somebody sells a rebuild kit, or at least a boot, so I can put this back together. So we'll get this back together, put this back on, see if the steering wheel is still clocked correctly. The steering wheel didn't seem clocked correctly. I had the column apart, and I think to fix the turn signal switch. And when I put it back together, I clocked it differently. But yeah, that was actually relatively problem-free, fairly simple. Maybe 15 minutes. I only had to go back to the garage for tools once, because that's 5/8. That side's 11/16. So I got that wrong. I was able to, once the pitman arm's off, the box spins, I was able just to turn it sideways like this, put a box wrench, 11/16 box wrench on the top, 11/16 box wrench on the bottom, basically just to hold it, bust this loose till it was loose, and the collar started to slide around because it would move like this a little bit. And lo and behold, all said and done, all of like 15 minutes later. Took me longer to do my intro video than it did to take the box off. Go figure. So this is where I'm going to leave you. It's Saturday, 10:15. Oops, yeah, we'll do that. That works. Saturday, 10:15. Redhead doesn't open till 8 a.m. on Monday. I'll throw the box in the back of, do I want to take the Bronco or do I want to take the Mustang? I don't know. We'll figure it out. Take one of them. Run to Post Falls, exchange it. Maybe I'll take cash. Maybe they'll give me a cash discount. That'd be nice. $596 before tax. It's expensive for a steering box. That's just crazy. And it's manual. It's not even power steering. All right. Nope. I'll quit whining and let you guys enjoy your weekend, and I'll update the video when I get the new box. I'll do like a unboxing. I probably won't get the box. Who knows? We'll see. But I'll show you what the rebuilt box looks like and what $600 gets you. And then I'll throw it all back together, and we'll go take this thing for a spin, and hopefully the death wobble will go away. Probably need to rebalance these tires again. It's part of the problem. These are Let me flip the camera around for you. Those are 750 by 16s. They are bias ply. They are tube tires. They are on OE Ford 16-inch steel wheels that I had powder coated. The place that did the powder coating did my mountain balance, and they did tape weights. That one still has the tape weight. I'm pretty sure this one on the driver's side behind me, this side, pretty sure the tape weights fell off on that one. So I'm going to guess this is my vibration. The vibration starts, causes my wobble, and then it just progressively gets worse. But the steering wheel vibrates, and sounds like the steering wheel or the steering column is going to come apart and blow up on me so we'll go ahead and nip it in the bud.